June 18, 1815. The fate of Europe hangs in the balance at Waterloo. Napoleon faces Wellington in a battle that will determine the future of the continent. But 200 miles away in London, one man already knows who won. Nathan Rothschild. While British investors panic, desperately trying to figure out if their country survived, Rothschild calmly walks onto the floor of the London Stock Exchange. He doesn't say a word. He just starts selling everything. British government bonds, stocks, everything. The room freezes. If Rothschild is selling, Napoleon must have won. The panic is instant. Everyone starts dumping British assets. Prices collapse. Then, in the final moments before the official news arrives, Rothschild does something that will make his family the richest in the world. He starts buying everything at a fraction of the price. 24 hours later, the official courier arrives. Wellington won. Britain is saved. And Nathan Rothschild just became the richest man in England. This is the story of how one family turned information into an empire, and why the lessons from 1815 still apply today. The Rothschild story doesn't start at Waterloo. It starts in a Jewish ghetto in Frankfurt, Germany, in the 1760s. Mayer Rothschild runs a small coin and banking business. Nothing special, just another merchant trying to survive. But Mayer has a strategy that nobody else is using. He has 5 sons, and instead of keeping them in Frankfurt competing with each other, he sends them to the 5 major financial centers of Europe: Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples. One family, 5 cities, 5 separate banking operations. But here's the genius. They're all connected. They share information. They coordinate movements. They act as one entity spread across an entire continent. In an era when communication takes weeks, when a letter from London to Vienna might take 10 days, the Rothschilds build the fastest private intelligence network in Europe. Carrier pigeons, couriers on horseback, ships, whatever it takes. By 1815, when Napoleon escapes from Elba and war breaks out again, the Rothschilds have been building this network for 20 years, and they're about to put it to use in the most spectacular way. Nathan Rothschild, operating out of London, is the star of the family. Aggressive, brilliant, ruthless. He's already financing British military operations against Napoleon, smuggling gold across enemy lines, moving money through blockades, making himself essential to the British war effort. But financing wars is just business. What happens at Waterloo is something else entirely. June 18th, 1815. The battle rages all day. Wellington's forces are getting hammered. Napoleon's Imperial Guard pushes forward. For hours, it's unclear who will win. Then, late in the afternoon, Prussian reinforcements arrive. Napoleon's army breaks. The battle is over. A Rothschild courier named Rothworth witnesses the end of the battle. He immediately rides for the coast, crosses the English Channel in a private boat, reaches London on the evening of June 19th, 24 hours before the official British courier. Nathan Rothschild now has information worth more than gold. He knows Britain won. He knows British government bonds are about to skyrocket when the news breaks. And he has 24 hours to act before anyone else knows. This is where the legend gets interesting. According to popular accounts, Rothschild walks onto the floor of the London Stock Exchange the morning of June 20th and starts selling. British bonds, called consols, drop from 77 to 72 an hour. The psychology is perfect. Everyone knows Rothschild has the best intelligence network in Europe. If he's selling, he must know something. Panic selling follows. Prices collapse further. Then, when prices hit bottom, Rothschild's agents quietly start buying everything they can get their hands at prices 50% below what they were worth just hours earlier. The official news arrives the next day. Britain won. Bonds surge back to 87. Rothschild's position is worth millions. Some estimates suggest he made over £20 million in a single day, the equivalent of over £2 billion today. Now, here's what historians argue about. Did Rothschild actually create the panic by selling first? Or did he just position himself to buy when everyone else panicked naturally? We don't know for certain. What we do know is that information gave him an edge nobody else had, and he used it perfectly. But Waterloo was just the beginning. What the Rothschilds did next is even more impressive. After 1815, the family doesn't just stay rich. They become the dominant force in European finance for the next 100 years. They finance railroads across Europe. They fund the British purchase of the Suez Canal. They loan money to governments. They broker peace treaties. Kings and queens come to them for money. And they do it all using the same principles that worked at Waterloo. First, information. The Rothschilds continue to maintain the best private intelligence network in Europe. They know about political changes, crop failures, wars, and opportunities before anyone else. In the 1800s, information isn't free. It's the most valuable commodity in the world, and the Rothschilds control it. Second, diversification. 5 brothers in 5 cities means if one market collapses, the family survives. If France has problems, London compensates. If Austria struggles, Paris picks up the slack. They're the first truly international banking family. Third, liquidity. While other banks tie up their capital in long-term investments, the Rothschilds always keep cash available. When opportunities appear, they can move instantly. When crises hit, they can buy assets nobody else can afford. Fourth, discretion. Unlike other wealthy families who flaunt their money, the Rothschilds operate quietly. They don't advertise their wealth. They don't publish their dealings. This gives them an advantage because competitors can't track their moves. By the mid-1800s, the family is so powerful that they're saying in Europe, there are only 5 great powers in Europe: England, France, Russia, Austria, and the Rothschilds. So what can we learn from this story in 2025? First, information is still the ultimate edge. It's not insider trading like Rothschild's Waterloo coup, but having better information than the market is how fortunes are made. Today that means understanding business models, reading financial statements, following industry trends before they're obvious. Second, speed matters. Rothschild didn't just have information, he acted on it immediately. Today, opportunities disappear in minutes thanks to algorithmic trading and instant communication. If you see an edge, you can't wait. Third, networks are wealth. The Rothschilds built a family network across Europe. Today, your network is your access to deals, information, and opportunities that never reach the public market. Fourth, liquidity is power. When everyone else is forced to sell, having cash means you can buy. Every major wealth transfer in history happens when those with liquidity buy from those who are forced to sell. Fifth, long-term thinking wins. The Rothschilds didn't just make money at Waterloo and retire. They built an empire that lasted generations because they thought in decades, not days. The story of the Rothschilds isn't just about one brilliant trade at Waterloo. It's about building systems that create advantages nobody else has: information networks, international diversification, patient capital, strategic positioning. Nathan Rothschild saw an opportunity at Waterloo and seized it. But the real genius was the 20 years of preparation that made that moment possible. In finance, luck is just preparation meeting opportunity. The Rothschilds prepared better than anyone else, and when opportunity came, they were ready.